From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Dennis's Heating and Air Conditioning is Northern California's premier heating and air conditioning contractor. From residential housing, large commercial projects, installation to repair, sheet metal fabrication, and everything in between, we are your go-to heating and air conditioning specialist.
Well, it's finally nice to say that we're going to be breaking away from this heat wave that we saw over the weekend, and temperatures are actually going to be dropping. However, that being said, we're still going to be looking at temperatures above normal, and it's going to be rather hot as a matter of fact, but no major heat waves are in the forecast. Now, speaking of heat waves, here's what we saw over the weekend. No record-breaking heat for the valley. In fact, well below where the records were set back in 1972 for both Saturday and Sunday. Now, for Mount Shasta City, what's interesting is, yes, we broke a record on Saturday. We don't know for sure if a record was broken or not on Sunday because the temperature gauge, the official temperature gauge for Mount Shasta was down. So we don't know for sure. This is just a temperature from a surrounding area. So it could have been close. And the same thing for Alturas. Didn't break the record on Saturday, and most likely didn't break a record on Sunday either. But for Susanville, we broke a record on Saturday, but we were 2 degrees shy on Sunday. You get the idea. No records were broken in the valley, but we saw plenty of records broken in many of the higher elevations. Now for today, no records, just another hot day. And because of the monsoon moisture that worked its way in yesterday, and not to mention last night, we are going to be looking at muggier conditions than we're used to around here. So it's still going to feel probably a little bit hotter than we're used to. Now we take a look at the mountains, and temperatures are dropping back below 100 degrees for everyone, with temperatures low 90s for Siskiyou and Modoc County, and for the eastern mountains in the mid to upper 90s for your daytime high. So again, not as hot, but still hot. In fact, we look at the trend for Redding. Look at the normal high for Redding. 101 degrees. So yes, that's the normal high. And as you can see, we're dropping down at least close to that by the time we get into Tuesday, Wednesday. But notice the temperature is really starting to increase again, but not quite reaching that 110 degree mark by Friday. Now we take a look at Futurecast. You can see that heat is moving down to the south and east, but it will begin to re-expand and move northward, taking you through the rest of this week, and not to mention this upcoming weekend. Now, the reason why that big bubble of heat is not on top of us is because we can thank this cool trough of low pressure from preventing that from moving in. Despite the fact that it's going to be hot, you can bet it would be even hotter if we didn't have that cooler air to our north and west. Here's what it looks like for your Monday. Temperatures most likely over 100 degrees anywhere you go in the valley, but there are those low 90s on average for the mountains, with the exception of the eastern mountains getting into the mid to upper 90s for some of the warmer spots. Looking at your 7-day forecast for Mount Shasta, low 90s through the middle of this week, but we will see that increase in the temperatures by the end of the week. That's the same story for Alturas, and not to mention Susanville. In fact, Susanville could be back up to about 100 degrees by the end of this week. And your 7-day forecast for the valley, of course, you know the story here. It's 100 degrees almost every day, with the exception of Chico. You may be able to dodge the triple digits come Tuesday and Wednesday, but back up over 100 degrees by Thursday through the weekend.